Hey, what's up, y'all? And of course, welcome to another alternative factuals video. Sorry for the one video for last week. Let me tell you something. Windows has some serious issues with their updates because my C drive was completely wiped with the restore points, all because of a stupid update. And it was very frustrating, so I had to, I guess, downgrade it. And I guess, we'll move from there. I haven't had any issues, so clearly they need to work on their update. Anyways, today I'm going to be discussing a little bit about, or a lot about, the DC Black Label coming to the DCEU. This is also in response to a lot of what we've been hearing about the Joker movie. A lot of people have been saying it's great in terms of critics. And obviously, me personally, I have not seen the movie yet, but there is some information out there that you're welcome to go look up, but I'll bring some of that information to you in this video. But before I dive into any of those details or any of those juicy facts, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Let me know your opinions, let me know your thoughts, and your whole plethora of theories that you may have when it comes to DC Black Label and the potential of the Joker movie itself kind of coming into full fruition. And without further ado, let's kind of jump into this. Now, a lot of people have been speculating when it comes to this brand new Joker movie. They thought it was like some laughing joke or a version of the laughing joke, which in a lot of ways I feel like it is. To some degree, I feel like a lot of this movie is trippy, as some people say it is, in terms of the way it's depicted, and it's not tackled like a traditional Joker kind of movie, even like the comic books. A lot of this kind of dives into the character development of this main character, who we discover is called Arthur Fleck. Now, not to my knowledge have I seen anything in DC Comics related to DC being related to the Joker's name being Arthur Fleck. I've never really heard anything like that. So for this movie, I feel like this is something brand new. This is something that they're doing, and they drew a lot of inspiration from many different classic films from back in the day. And like I said, I'm not going to get into the details of that, simply because if I do that, this video will be like half an hour long. But it's basically about a failed comedian, Arthur Fleck. He encounters violent thugs while wandering the streets of Gotham City dressed as a clown. Disregarded by society, Fleck decides to kind of begins his slow descent into madness as he transforms into the criminal mastermind known as the Joker. So even though the premise or slash plot, whatever, it kind of sounds a lot like the laughing joke, basically just one bad day kind of transpired into several bad days. Now, I'm not going to get any further into the details of the movie itself because, like I said, I have not seen it, as well as even if I did get some information about it, that would kind of be spoiler territory. Any information I'm telling you at this point is relatively public and it's not spoilers, so that's why I'm trying to avoid that. Now, what I'm going to discuss is the reason why this movie is so important when it comes to the status of the DCEU is specifically because of how the film was created. It's designed to be rated R, 1, 2, it's also very, like I said, mind bender. A lot of this just dives strictly into the character and the building of the Joker, until you get that giant reveal, yes, he has finally jumped down that rabbit hole of madness, and he's finally the character that we all know and love today, which is the whole point of the video, obviously, well, the whole point of the movie as well. So this movie is extremely important because the DCEU has not been as successful when it comes to their movies in terms of the characters like Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Superman, Batman v Superman, all that stuff. Don't get me wrong, Aquaman and Wonder Woman did well, and in general though, the DCEU has not been doing well compared to the MCU, for example. They have established individual characters and built up movies, and then obviously the MCU is one of the biggest superhero universes to ever exist throughout cinematic history. So this is what makes this interesting. Now, I did suggest this a while back when it came to the DCEU that maybe they shouldn't be taking the same approach as the MCU if you want to do something different as well as revolutionary. Where yes, the MCU has kind of established that you can have a cohesive universe. Yes, that can happen, that can exist, and DC can still do that from time to time. But what I think the difference should be is simply the fact that sometimes it kind of pays to see something a little different that does not exist in the same universe as the other movies or some stories, for example. So having a black label would open the door to telling darker, more serious stories, at least more mature stories as well. So that can reintroduce characters or reintroduce movies like Constantine, for example, reintroduce characters in comics concepts like Justice League Dark. A lot of those darker tone comics that were not meant necessarily to have that DCEU brand per se. But the success of this movie would allow them to officially launch the DC Black Label on Warner Brothers, simply because it would prove that there's actually a crowd for these rated R darker films. And like I said, if people like it as much as the critics do, then this movie really will launch the DCEU into a different space when it comes to superhero films, superhero movies, movies and superhero series. Even the DC app is actually not bad in terms of the shows and content that they have. Yes, they don't have a lot of content in general compared to, like, Disney Plus when they launch. However, the DC app has been doing very well when it comes to the TV show. Swamp Thing was amazing, Titans was good, and even Doom Patrol, some people say they didn't like it because they felt like it was a little too trippy. Don't get me wrong, it's an acquired taste, but for the most part there was really good writing, really good dialogue, and then character development was absolutely there for every single one of their shows. So this movie will definitely launch the movies going forward when it comes to the future of the DCEU and their movies, and also just in general, this movie will just be overall fun to watch. We'll kind of get one of the origins of the Joker, so to speak, because currently there is a run that's out right now called The Three Jokers, and obviously there's 3 versions of the Joker that exist. And the question a lot of people have been asking is, who are these 3 Jokers? What are their identities and what are their backstories for both, for each of them basically? And a lot of people have been speculating that it's the same Joker with 3 different personalities, and each of them have their own lives at different points in time, which is completely possible knowing the Joker character as well as some of the concepts that they introduced in the New 52 regarding the Joker, the Lazarus Pits, and how he's kind of seemed to always exist throughout hundreds and hundreds of years. So it's very much possible that could be the case. Maybe there are 3 precisely different Jokers, and Batman hasn't noticed, or somebody else hasn't noticed. They just been swapping in and out occasionally throughout the course of time, or maybe they live their course of life out, and then somebody else takes over the mantle. It can be anything. Like I said, the Joker character is very complex when you dive into the psyche and the way that he kind of goes through his life when it comes to him being chaos personified. Now, something that this film might actually be doing as well is taking the time to introduce a brand new Joker in general. Like I said, we've never heard of anybody called Arthur Fleck, at least not to my knowledge. If you have in some other comic, at least anything that I've searched for, I have not seen anything about Arthur Fleck. So if you've seen something in the comics that even slightly resemble this and it's related to the Joker, please be sure to let me know in the comments down below, because I will definitely not be upset for you putting me on to information. I actually want to know more about this film. But yes, this film has been it has had some really great critic reviews, and I think the scene in the Joker was actually shot in the Bronx. But like I said, a lot of this is designed to be very trippy, so this is not a film you wouldn't really bring your kids to, at least in my opinion, unless you have older kids, obviously 13 and above or something like that, then sure. But I wouldn't really bring your kids for this. But regarding that, I think that's pretty much about it when it comes to the film itself. I mean, there's nothing really too extensive out there. They've been pretty hush-hush about it, as well as it's coming out next month since it's officially September, so we're going to be seeing this pretty soon, and more stuff is going to be dropping about it, and a lot of people are excited about this movie. I am as well. I want to see the take that they're gonna actually go through when it comes to the development of the character, and how he goes about his day-to-day life, and just seeing how they kind of progress the Joker over the course of the movie. And hopefully, like I said, we'll see the grand finale of when he becomes the Prince of Chaos, at the end of the movie, and we actually get that huge payoff. And hopefully we'll be able to see how this movie will affect the future of the DCEU when it comes to his character, or just Black Label movies in general. But nonetheless, this movie is going to be one of those movies that really can make or break the DCEU when it comes to the direction that they're going to take some of their future films. So let's just hope they do it well. I hope so. Like I said, I'm not hating, I'm not going to say like, hey, the movie's going to flop, or hey, this movie is going to be, trash or whatever like that, because there's been a couple times where, well, there's been a lot of times that I've been right when it comes to the DCEU, but there's been a couple times that I was wrong. I knew Wonder Woman was going to be pretty solid. I feel like you couldn't really mess that up, but okay. I thought that they was going to flop on Aquaman, but I actually enjoyed it. But besides that, not too many films in the DCEU has really been entertaining or satisfying, or brought me that satisfaction I've been looking for, that I've kind of gotten from the MCU movies in general. But I'm going to wrap it up around here. But if you're new to the channel, please be sure to like, share, and of course subscribe. Let me know down below in the comments what you're thinking when it comes to the Joker movie. Let me know plot ideas, plot points, dialogue, anything that you feel like is going to take place that's going to happen in this movie. Let me know if you feel like they're going to draw inspiration from very specific comics, which does remind me, I do feel like they're going to draw a lot of inspiration from Joker Last Laugh. And for a quick little wrap up, the Joker received some shocking news while under lockdown in this lab that he is, he has a malignant tumor in his brain and that he's gonna die. But basically, he just comes out of, the slammer, and then he's like, yo, I'm just gonna go out with a bang. I'm gonna, start off this prison riot and just go crazy. But I'm not saying the situation itself is gonna be very heavily influenced in the movie, but I'm just saying in general, I think, the concept behind the way he operates might be something that you might want to look in when it comes to Joker Last Laugh. It's only 6 issues, so it's not that deep, but let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I hope to see you later on. Peace out.
Been a little too nice to y'all. Now I gotta up price on y'all.